Good morning, Zio here, and if you haven't liked, comment, and subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now. I know you're probably not going to, but at least I've said it, so do it, please? Come on, we're growing every day. Anyway, I hope you got your coffee ready, because we are going to go full blast into reviving Anthem. We're going to go ahead and talk about what they've said and, go over this article as well as, I guess, tell my thoughts on how they could go about reviving Anthem as well and make it a much better game than what it currently is. So go ahead and get your coffee. Well, yeah, according to several sources apparently out there, BioWare has plans to do a complete overhaul for Anthem, which can be done, quite frankly. I can go over, we will go over, how I feel that it could be done in a respectable way, because unfortunately some of the things that they plan to do or possibly are thinking about, don't do it. That's bad. There's better ways to go about doing this, and believe it or not, there is a game out there that did this exact same thing, where their beginning product failed horribly, and they brought it back from the ashes like a phoenix. So, and I just realized that is probably a song reference of some kind, but it was really a Final Fantasy reference. Yeah, so let's just get into it. But yeah, we've got overhauls for Anthem coming. But yeah, many of the details are still in flux. There are no clear timelines for Anthem's next project just yet. In fact, from what I've heard, the developments of BioWare haven't even decided how it's going to be distributed. But yeah, they're working on another Anthem, and they're talking about Anthem 2.0, calling it Anthem Next. And, Anthem itself probably could be a very good game. However, it's got its issues. It was, one, rushed. Two, it's a live service game devised around a live service game. And what a lot of these companies can't seem to get through their head is when you make a game specifically for monetization, instead of making the game and then thinking about monetization as an after effect, your games just aren't doing that good anymore. We've seen it over and over and over again recently, where they've designed the game around monetization. And I think they had to, if I remember correctly, they had to redo how they were doing monetization in Anthem to begin with, because of something else that had happened right beforehand with a previous game. And everyone was like, yep, nope, we're out. Sorry, gotta go. And then they had to come out and say, yeah, we had to now redo all how we were planning on doing this, because apparently everybody is thinking of monetization first, gameplay second. And that doesn't make for a good game at all. But they're still trying to figure out whether updates should be released all at once or over an extended period of time. Anthem could be overhauled through a series of updates, No Man's Sky way, and it could get a game-changing expansion like Destiny's critically acclaimed Taken Kings. Most of Anthem's biggest systems, its mission structure, its loot, its world will change drastically, by the developers have not yet figured out what that will look like, that they've even considered releasing Anthem Next as a brand new game, although those who work on the project said that could take a lot of forms, and it is unlikely they'll change, and it's unlikely they'll charge full price to Anthem players, which actually, apparently I read that wrong the first time. I thought they were saying that they were. But anyway, so yeah, that's a good thing. I would not be charging players for... Actually, I would not charge them at all. We'll get into why. Or at least give them a lot of perks for being there at the start and being there at the end. Something to make it worthwhile for the players who stayed there. Because if you came out and took their $65 and then the game failed and then you released another game, go, look, it's what we really wanted and it's better and it works now, and give us $65. That's not going to cut it. Not at all. That's not going to. You can do that for the new players, but not the existing player base. The one thing that's for sure is that BioWare was not abandoning Anthem despite recent breathless declarations that the game is dead. Well, it seems to be dead. Last I checked, poking that carcass didn't make it move very much. There are a few better ways to get a view on YouTube than declaring Anthem to be dead. What? Look, sorry. Anthem's dead. If you hadn't noticed, it's a rotting corpse in the stable right now that somebody just left in the back. Yeah, it's not doing anything. It's messed up. It's buggy. Loot system is all screwed up, although maybe they did fix that somewhere along the way and I just hadn't seen it yet. I don't know. It's been a while. But other than that, Anthem's kind of cool. I mean, I like the whole idea of flying around and, Iron Man style and stuff. And that seems like a really cool thing, which of course, makes me somewhat excited for what it is that, what is it, Mark Kern is doing with that MMO that he is creating, where it's sort of like a cross between, Pacific Rim with the Jaegers and the Kaijus and Monster Hunter. Sounds like that would be a lot of fun, but time will tell. So, but we spent a few months just tearing it down and figuring out what needed to change fundamentally. A lot, said one person on the project, and we've been rebuilding from another few months since. Yeah, a lot needed to change. A representative for EA declined to comment on the story, yada yada. Anthem was launched in February 2019. It was a big change for BioWare. The studio made its name on heavy role-playing games like Dragon Age, Mass Effect. So fans were surprised when they saw BioWare trying to take on the likes of Destiny with an online shooter. Thanks to a messy development product plagued with technical issues, vision struggles, and many other stresses, the game flopped. It was buggy, tedious, and lacked any long-term appeal of its competitors, which of course, we were talking about before we got to that. But in the coming months, BioWare would delay Anthem's in-game Cataclysm event, and on September 17th, the development said they were moving away from previously announced update plans in favor of a long-term fixes. Yeah, they had a roadmap, and then I think the roadmap fell somewhere behind a desk, and everybody forgot what it was. But, yeah. We hear your concerns on core issues in Anthem and are acting on it, wrote BioWare's head lead in a blog post. The system requires a more thorough review and reworking versus quick fixes. We've got a team working on it now. Early results are promising, which is good. I mean, Anthem definitely needs an overhaul. I'm not going to lie. It really does need a straight-up overhaul. A month and a half later, Robertson quit, their head developer, or head of live services, I think. My bad. Yeah, see, when you put live services first. Anyway, Robertson quit following in the footsteps of lead producer Ben Irving. Oh, wait, yeah, the lead producer did leave. I wasn't wrong. Just talking about the wrong person, who left in August. The optics of the departure combined with EA's vague messaging about Anthem's futures has led to a non-stop speculation. BioWare ditches Anthem for good, proclaims the YouTube news show Inside Gaming Daily. I have no idea what that is. Inside Gaming Daily. I guess I'll check that out one day. Nope, I'm going to forget. On November 1st, around the same time, Forbes journalist Paul Tulsey wrote, "I no longer really care about hearing about future plans for Anthem because I simply cannot imagine there will be anything beyond the bare minimum of keeping the game alive on life support, if that." Which is a thing, which is a fair criticism. That's something that EA is kind of known for. They're going to try and cram all the microtransactions in. And then if the game is going bad, they're going to, of course, keep it on life support. But the reality is that BioWare is still putting a lot of work into Anthem. Details on Anthem Next are hazy, but among other things, the game developers plan to overhaul the loot, the quest, and the social aspects of the game, the difficulty, the process, progression system, and the world map. Yeah, they've got a lot to do. And they're not the only game who has ever attempted that, by the way. One person on the project said that we're planning to change the game's entire structure. Right now, the entire world of Anthem is set on a single contingent map. Separating the map into segments would allow developers to tweak and play around those segments without worrying that they might create bugs and glitches all over the world. There's nothing wrong with that. You make little tiny instance areas. I mean, I get the appeal of a free-roaming, just straight-up map. But essentially what you're doing is a first-person shooter MMO-style game. And sometimes free-roaming maps like that just don't work. Not with what you're trying to do. Especially, you know, with all the stuff that's going on. I really don't know how... I don't remember how Destiny's set up. I'm not going to lie. It's been a very long time. So I can't really use that as a look through, but you know, like World of Warcraft, everything is open. You know, the outside world, everything's open. You can go anywhere, but it's not got the fast-paced action that like Anthem's going to have, and it's not visually like Anthem. Now, Final Fantasy XIV, on the other hand, is also another MMO. It doesn't have like super fast action either. You know, it's similar to World of Warcraft. However, visually, my gosh, it looks so much better. It is gorgeous compared to, say, World of Warcraft. And its map is segmented into smaller points, smaller instances. You go from, you know, one place to, like, I guess, like the South Shroud or something. You go to the Central Shroud. And each of these places are segmented off into their own small little ecosystem. And, you know, it doesn't tax, say, you know, the computer over here that much as a result. And, you know, you don't have to worry about having to do all this other thing with loading in certain things and stuff. And if somebody goes too fast, then it doesn't load in properly and people fall through worlds and stuff. But of course, you know, there's always still technical issues like that that will always arise. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with having it segmented into a thing like that. But, one person on the project said they are planning to change the game's entire structure. Right now, the entire world of Anthem is on... Well, I forgot where we were. Separating the map into segments would allow developers to tweak around with those segments without worrying that they may create bugs and glitches across the world. We're also looking at backing up the need to go back to Fort after every mission. Yeah, see, that would be a problem too. Like, that's just one of those annoyance things, right? Said one person, and what a mission technically is. That was always a weird disconnect. We're trying to integrate disparate. I can't read parts of the game together. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's too early for me. Anyway. So, you know, like I was saying, that's a bit of an annoyance. Right now, I'm trying out ESO for the first time. Elder Scrolls Online, if you don't know what that is. I am still full into Final Fantasy XIV. Don't worry, I'm still loving that game. I'm not touching Blizzard products because, well, like I said, I'm going to be on protest, you know, until Blitzchung is officially allowed to come back and play. Even though I know it's not going to do anything in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean anything, but it does make me feel a little bit better, I guess, to protest along with the bans and not touch a Blizzard product. So I won't be playing WoW or anything anytime soon. Then again, I hadn't played it since, I guess, early last December, so I'm coming up on my 1 year mark for Final Fantasy XIV. But I had ESO from way back when it first, you know, booted up. I beta tested the game and got it when it came out, and I haven't actually touched it since. So I'm dipping my toes into there to see what that is. And it's got something that has annoyed the heck out of me recently. And honestly, I hadn't messed with the main story as a result. So it's one of those things that needs to be changed. So you go into the main story quest, friends, right? After you get out of the starting area, or when you go to the starting area, you can just immediately go find the dude and start doing the main quest. He's in a cave hidden somewhere. He's blind stuff. You go through all this rigmarole with him. And then he's like, okay, I'll call you as soon as I've got new things for you to do and figure it out. And you're like, okay, cool. So this might be a while. I'm going to go out and go do something else. I'll explore the world, quest a little bit, something like that. You zone out of the cave. You run about 1,000 feet in one direction somewhere. And then he suddenly, pops up and starts talking to you and goes, Vasage, I have another mission for you. Return to the cave immediately. Every time. Now, I'm not that far into the main quest, but after it happened the third time, it annoyed the heck out of me. I was like, you know what, dude? You can sit in your cave and rot for all I care. I've got a world out there to explore. If you've got another mission for me when I haven't even gotten myself to a city that is literally next to the cave, by the way, I'm not going to waste my time walking out of the cave, walking 500 feet, turning around, going back and zoning back into the cave for you to then give me something else. Well, I'm there, give it to me. That's annoying. So, this idea of returning back to the same, anyway. But yeah, just little annoyances that happen to transfer over. But yeah, this thing has lasted longer. I'm going to, of course, link this entire thing down in the description. But what can they do? Can they revive Anthem by doing this? I think they can. And what is this? This is Final Fantasy XIV. Now, if you didn't know, Final Fantasy XIV has two builds to it. There is Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, the original build that came out. This is the build I heard of when the game came out and why it took me years to touch this game. It wasn't until, I think it was Az from Hill vs. Babyface made these videos, these two videos of WoW versus ESO versus Final Fantasy XIV, that I finally took the time to go ahead and go, you know what? I'm going to give Final Fantasy XIV a try because I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, for one. Two, I totally forgot that I already owned ESO. So I didn't even think about that. And, yeah, and I've never looked back since. Because a lot has changed. Now, what happened exactly? Final Fantasy XIV, the original 1.0 build, was kind of plagued with issues. It had issues. They were bringing in a lot of stuff from 11, and it just wasn't working out with the new player base. There was a lot of issues because they made it look so gorgeous that literally having Leviathan over the ship could chunk your computer to the point of death, even on a high-end rig, because of so many polygons and everything else that were going on, that it needed an overhaul. They shut it down. I know that sounds weird, but when an MMO that's like a year or so old decides, look guys, we're sorry, but we need to shut it down for a year or so, rework it from the ground up, and we promise you the next product is going to be better. It's going to be more up to standards. And since then, Final Fantasy XIV is one of the top 3 of the biggest MMOs that we've got now. And the other two, of course, being WoW and ESO. But that is exactly what they did. And how they did it was very unique and very... I like just the lure of how they did it. So what we're looking at is the final moments of Final Fantasy XIV, right? There was this big meteor-like thing coming down from the sky because all your missions up to that point was trying to stop them from summoning this thing. You failed, by the way. And the last moments is literally it coming down. And then what happens afterwards is just genius, because they did a Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. The game starts up, picks up literally after this thing touches down. Literally after this, you get a beginning video that shows what happened. You get teleported, 5 years into the future, and you start again. If you were playing the 1.0 version, characters and dialogues and stuff would change to reflect that. You know, instead of meeting, say, somebody from the Scions or whatever for the first time, or one of the, you know, city-states for the first time, and say, you know, I'm so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh, hello, blank. You know, it's been a long time. Things like that to make you feel more part of the world because you were part of the world. And granted, A Realm Reborn is a separate game. And a lot of these people got perks and other things. There's legacy status and other stuff as a result for being there at the end. So let's just look at it real quick just for a second. But yeah, the servers shut down. Everybody was around, you know, just watching, logged in for the first time, you know, to watch the end of it. Servers go down. That's it. Game over. And then this. To show what happens. The meteor comes down. It falls. You know, Bahamut is released into the world. He goes on a devastating rampage. And they shut the service down for about a year or so before rebooting it completely and making it a brand new, essentially a brand new game from the ground up, the way they reworked the systems and everything else. And they gave the original product a proper send-off. That is something that Anthem should be able to, or could do. I mean, that is an option that they could do. Is to do this, you know, give the game out to their current Anthem players, and then have them, of course, encourage more people to buy, and then they get treated with, like, you know, the video, the cinematic opening up of what happened, and give them a losing situation to essentially work towards before service is shut off, cut down, and be done with it. But yeah, and go ahead and mute that real quick. But yeah, I think that's exactly what Anthem should do right there, is they give you that sort of end of the world thing. Everything goes to shot and back, and they lose everything. Shut the service down, rework it from the ground up, bring in another team if needed. You know, that's what Final Fantasy XIV did. They brought in new people, reworked it from the ground up, and you have a far superior product as a result. And I think Anthem could easily handle that. It is EA, of course. They've got the money and the budget to possibly do that. Of course, the question is, I guess, the greed of EA. Would EA be willing to do something like that? Or are they looking literally for a quick fix? Because I know they talked about how they can't do the quick fixes. They've got to overhaul the whole thing. But we are talking about EA. They're the masters of shoving things out there before they're ready. And just saying, oops, wash your hands of the whole thing and be done with it. Consume it or get lost. Yeah. But this was an amazing way to send off the game itself and, you know, start anew. Just awesome. Amazing. The thing touches down, the seals are released, and Bahamut is released into the world, and that is what is known as the Cataclysm. And it will be referenced throughout A Realm Reborn's storyline, is the Cataclysm. The Cataclysm happened, people lost their memories, and all this other stuff, and it's you to go and stop another one from happening, because another one is on the forefront. You know, it's about to happen. But, yeah, and that's how you can start your next version of the game, is to give it, look, this happened. You're starting brand new from the start. Figure out a way to make it happen real quick. How that winds up being, you know, lore friendly or whatever. And then you're trying to prevent a second, you know, cataclysmic effect from actually happening. And you go from there. But yeah, Bahamut just shows up, blasts everything across the entire world. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let me know what you think down in the comments below about Anthem. Can they revive it? If they've done it, if they can do it right, you know, what they need to do to make it right. Let me know down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.